Imagine a world where, like, the quiet, sun-baked streets of a college town in Texas are actually ground zero for an ancient cosmic war.
Oh, yeah. Like, on the surface, you've just got your everyday scenery.
Exactly. You have your
Yeah.
local car dealerships, the neighborhood plumbers, the guys running the oil and tire shop down the road.
Just completely normal blue-collar life.
Right. But when the sun goes down, that local plumbing family moonlights as a highly trained tactical strike team.
Which is such a wild concept.
It really is. And the enemy they're fighting. It isn't just your run-of-the-mill corrupt politicians or greedy land developers. You are looking at a generational satanic coven.
And they have completely infiltrated, like, local law enforcement.
The media, the city's infrastructure, all of it. That is the terrifying premise of Rina Lynn's Prepare for the End series. So today, you're going to dive deep into a stack of excerpts and analysis from this universe.
It really is the ultimate high-stakes, hidden in plain sight scenario. The tension in the universe Lynn has built comes in the fact that, well, the barista handing you your coffee might be a spiritual guardian.
Wow, yeah.
And the police officer pulling you over might literally be serving a demonic entity. It blurs the lines between spiritual warfare and actual physical combat in a way that is just incredibly unique.
Okay, let's unpack this. How exactly does a fiction series blend intense tactical espionage with deep theological warfare? Because you look at these source materials, and it's a wildly dense survivalist narrative.
Yeah, to understand how Lynn blends those two elements,
Yeah.
you really first have to understand the defining ethos of her universe.
Yeah.
She calls it kinetic Christian realism.
Kinetic Christian realism.
Okay, so you need to leave any preconceived notions of, like, gentle, sanitized, inspirational fiction at the door. Kinetic Christian realism operates on the premise that the truth isn't always pretty.
Not at all.
No. In Lynn's framework, surviving the contemporary era requires acknowledging some very ugly, brutal realities.
Yeah, I mean, reading through these excerpts, it completely shatters that idealistic veneer of civil society.
Totally shatters it.
The narrative forces these characters to reckon with, like extreme, visceral violence. It seems to argue that survival in this universe is a holistic endeavor. You can't just sit in a circle and pray the danger away.
Right. You need absolute spiritual purity, but you also need absolute tactical lethality.
Yes. It's almost like Jack Bauer meeting the Book of Revelation.
That is a perfect way to describe it.
But hold on. I have to challenge the basic logistics of this. If the world Lynn has created is this dark, and the heroes are constantly under the threat of physical and spiritual violence, how do they even function day to day? Like, how do you go buy groceries or put gas in your car without collapsing from sheer paranoia?
It's a very logical question.
Yep.
And the text actually provides a structural answer to it.
Huh.
They don't survive alone.
Oh.
Yeah, to endure a world this thoroughly hostile, you cannot be an isolated lone wolf hero. It's structurally impossible to check your physical six and your spiritual six at the same time, all the time.
You just burn out.
Exactly. You need a highly specialized, fiercely loyal unit watching your blind spots. And this absolute necessity for a team is what directly birthed the series' most fascinating dynamic, the Johnson brothers.
Oh, man. So this is where the deep lore comes in. If
Yeah.
you can't survive alone, you build a squad.
You build a squad.
And the Johnson brothers operate as a literal family, but, looking at these notes, they are essentially a spiritual black ops team.
They really are.
And they have one primary objective that dictates their entire lives.
That's right. They made a 40-year secret vow to protect their youngest brother, Jake.
40 years. Just think about that.
I know. In the lore of this series, Jake is identified as the child of prophecy. His operational code names are Moses, or the Mastermind.
The mastermind. I love that.
Right, so the older brothers knew their job was to shield this child, long before Jake himself even understood his own calling, which, is to eventually preach a massive nation-shifting message.
You're looking at the analysis here, and Lynn uses two very specific terms for how they pull this off. The identity shell game and the humility mandate.
Yes.
Break those down for me. What do those jargon terms actually look like in practice for these guys?
That is the core of their tactical strategy. Let's start with the identity shell game. Think of it like a literal street hustle, where you're hiding a ball under one of three moving cups.
Okay, I'm with you.
The ball is Jake's prophetic destiny and the family's immense spiritual power. They hide that true identity under the cups of mundane blue-collar lives.
So they're just playing normal.
Exactly. By working ordinary jobs, they keep Jake safe and grounded, completely off the Coven's radar. Because the enemy is looking for flashy, powerful, holy men, not local plumbers and mechanics.
That makes total sense. They are camouflaging their power. And what about the humility mandate?
Well, the humility mandate is the internal mechanism that makes the shell game work. In kinetic Christian realism, pride is considered a fatal vulnerability.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like a tracking beacon for demonic forces. So the brothers must actively embrace deeply humbling, service-oriented lives. By stripping away their own egos, they become empty vessels.
Wow. So they can't take any credit.
Right. It ensures they are relying purely on divine power rather than their own arrogance, and that keeps their spiritual armor intact.
So they are hiding in plain sight by being the most unassuming guys in town. But beneath that, they're structured exactly like a specialized military unit.
Well, 100%.
Let's walk through their specific prophetic roles, because the way they leverage these mundane jobs is fascinating. You have the oldest brother, Johnny. His code name is Diamond.
Right. Johnny is the guardian. He is the physical wall between Jake and the world.
And his cover in the identity shell game is that he runs a car lot.
Yep.
But how does selling used sedans make him a tactical guardian?
Well, it's all about the logistics and the persona. Running a car lot means he controls a constant flow of vehicles, meaning untraceable transportation for the unit if things go south.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And it gives him a legitimate reason to have a massive, secure physical footprint in the town. Plus, personally, he possesses a diamond-hard exterior. He rules by sheer force of will.
A real tough guy.
The text specifically notes he's a man other men instinctively know not to tangle with.
Yeah.
He projects a localized threat perimeter just by existing in a space.
Then there's Elliot, or L, codename Avenger. The notes say he represents wisdom.
Yes.
His cover is running an oil and tire store. Again, it sounds completely random until you think about the leverage it provides.
Exactly. Running a tire shop makes him a fundamental pillar of the local blue-collar economy. He literally knows everyone's vehicle, their schedules, their financial status.
He's an information hub.
But more importantly, his mind is his weapon. He operates with the cool, highly detached demeanor of a ruthless CEO. He is used to high-pressure, rapid-fire problem-solving.
Which the text says makes him incredibly valuable when the corrupt local law enforcement brings the brothers in for questioning.
Yeah, because in Lynn's universe, getting arrested isn't just a legal problem, it's a spiritual trap. When the corrupt cops bring them in, Elliot is the shield.
He just handles them.
He treats the interrogation room like a hostile corporate buyout. He is utterly unbreakable, using his intellect and legal maneuvering to disarm the police before they can land a charge.
That brings us to Russell, codename Prophet. He's the heart of the unit.
All right.
His day job is working as a drug sales rep, which means he is traveling constantly, building massive networks of contacts. But his real role within the family unit is being the undamaged emotional center.
Right.
And this detail absolutely floored me. The text reveals he took on the caretaker role for his brothers at just 4 years old after a traumatic family incident.
It's a staggering detail. What's fascinating here is how the author emphasizes the sheer psychological endurance required to fight this war. Russell isn't the physical brawler, right? His tactical value is his empathy.
He takes the hits.
Exactly. He absorbs the emotional shockwaves that hit the family so the other brothers can keep fighting.
Just put yourself in those shoes for a second. Imagine being 4 years old, literally a toddler, and somehow internalizing that your life's singular purpose is to be the emotional shock absorber and physical guardian for your infant brother.
It's heavy.
The intense psychological burden this places on a child is almost unimaginable.
And finally, you have Kevin, codename Carpenter. He represents the power to see.
His cover is brilliant. He's a trained counselor. But tactically, he's the family's stealth recon.
That's right. Kevin has mastered the art of deliberately fading into the woodwork. People literally forget he's even in the room.
Which is perfect for gathering intel.
Yep. As a counselor, people naturally confess things to him, letting their guard down. He uses that unassuming, quiet nature to gather critical, actionable intelligence for the unit without anyone realizing they are being interrogated.
It's a brilliantly constructed dynamic. But, taking a step back, you have to realize that this extreme level of generational preparation implies an equally extreme generational threat.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't spend 40 years building a fortress, signing code names, and running stealth recon unless you know a massive siege is coming.
And the siege in this narrative is relentless. And it comes from everywhere. The antagonists are a satanic coven, but they aren't hiding in the woods chanting around a cauldron.
No.
They are deeply, systemically embedded. in the town's modern infrastructure. We are talking about the police force, local politics, the medical system.
The media, too. The text highlights a reporter, Monica Kinjo from TXNEWS.
Oh, yeah, Monica.
She isn't just a bad journalist. She actively acts as a mouthpiece for the Coven, utilizing the daily news cycle to broadcast lies and systematically destroy the heroes' reputations in the public eye.
It is total systemic infiltration. Their goal is absolute. They want to wipe out the godly bloodlines, like the Johnsons. And they use supernatural assets, too. The text mentions shapeshifters, specifically a 30-year-old character named Waya, or Wolf,
Right.
who is a pure-born asset of this bloodline. But for all their horrific rituals and shape-shifting assassins, the author makes a very profound point about modern warfare. Their most potent weapon isn't actually physical violence.
No, it's psychological destruction. And this is where the tone of the series gets incredibly dark. The text reveals a massive, devastating secret that Jake has been carrying for.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of kinetic Christian realism, the Coven weaponizes trauma, specifically sexual trauma, to create isolation and intense shame. It was a highly calculated trap set by the Coven to humiliate Jake and break his mind.
And it doesn't stop with Jake. The Coven targets his current love interest, Maggie. She is assaulted and left with severe memory loss. The emotional and psychological warfare is brutal.
It really is.
But this brings up a massive practical dilemma for you to consider as a listener. If the enemy controls the police who issue the warrants, if they control the news anchors who report on the crimes, and if they use psychological warfare designed to completely shatter your mind,
Right.
fighting back legally is impossible. You can't just hire a lawyer and go to court. At what point does a good guy have to cross the line to win?
It's the central ethical tension of Lynn's entire universe. The system itself is rigged by supernatural malice. So the characters realize they must operate entirely outside traditional law enforcement.
They have to.
They have to rely on their own tactical assets, off-the-grid logistics, and literal divine intervention to turn the tide. They effectively have to become a parallel justice system.
And this is where the kinetic pushback comes in, and the execution is thrilling. As you mentioned earlier, it's not just sitting in a circle praying, it's highly tactical, explosive warfare.
Yes.
The heroes use a location called the Rockino Ranch, run by a man named Dan Blanchard, as a fortified safe haven and staging ground.
And they recruit operators who can bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual. A prime example is Tucker Drake.
Tucker's a fascinating character.
Totally.
He is a special forces sniper and a highly trained field surgeon. To the town, his cover is that he works, but secretly, he is running high-level counterintelligence operations against the Coven.
The integration of military tactics with spiritual warfare is the absolute hallmark of this series. The characters treat spiritual attacks with the exact same gravity as a kinetic assault, and they treat kinetic assaults with intense spiritual weight.
There's this incredibly gritty scene in the text that perfectly captures this blend of physical and spiritual stakes. Jake is actively being targeted for assassination.
Yeah, the window scene.
Right. He's standing near a window, and a sniper shoots him twice. One bullet severely grazes his ribs. He is bleeding out fast.
It's so tense.
They have to drag him into a secret, reinforced panic room hidden behind a bookcase. Tucker Drake has to perform emergency field surgery on him in the pitch dark using only a flashlight, while the enemy tactical team is literally still hunting them in the building.
It's a visceral, bloody reminder of the physical cost of this war. The author doesn't shy away from the fact that standing against this kind of evil results in real casualties.
Absolutely.
But the series also demonstrates the flip side of that coin. Spiritual artillery is treated as just as literal and just as explosive as a sniper rifle. The climactic debate scene is the perfect manifestation of this.
Oh, this scene plays out like a movie.
Doesn't it?
Jake is scheduled to participate in a public campus debate, but thanks to their recon, he knows he's being targeted for a very public assassination right there in the auditorium.
Right.
The corrupt media is there waiting to record his downfall. The compromised cops are securing the doors. The Coven is watching from the shadows. Instead of cowering, trying to escape, or playing it safe, Jake steps right up to the podium. And he doesn't just debate. He preaches a fiery, uncompromising brimstone sermon. He goes on the absolute offensive.
Because in the framework of kinetic Christian realism, preaching is a tactical weapon system. It's not just words meant to inspire. It's an active, targeted deployment of spiritual power.
Wow.
As he preaches this uncompromising truth, the text describes a massive, impossibly long electric blue lightning bolt striking the building.
Wild.
It's a physical, undeniable manifestation of heavenly backing.
And the kinetic result of that spiritual strike is immediate. The sheer force of the truth he is speaking, backed by this supernatural display, causes dozens of corrupt cops and Texas Rangers to literally fall to their knees.
They just break.
They repent and switch sides right there on the floor of the auditorium. It's a total cascading rout of the enemy's frontline forces.
Because it changes hearts, which instantly flips the allegiance of the enemy's foot soldiers. The Coven relies on deception and compromised morals to maintain their army.
So by speaking the truth,
Exactly. Jake is effectively destroying the Coven's infrastructure from the inside out, using theology as his primary weapon system to sever their control over the town's authorities.
okay, let's unpack this. So what does this all mean for you as the listener diving into this source material? The story of Jake, the Johnson brothers, and their 40-year secret vow isn't just an action thriller.
No, it's so much more.
It's a highly detailed blueprint for a worldview where everyday life is an active combat zone. In this universe, loyalty to your fiercely protective family and your unyielding faith are the absolute only armor that works against an enemy that plays for keeps.
And while it's important to remember this is a fictional, extreme narrative framework created by Rina Lynn, it clearly taps into a very real modern anxiety.
For sure.
There's a pervasive feeling today that society is secretly broken, that the systems we rely on, like justice, media, healthcare, are fundamentally corrupt. This series speaks to the deep human desire to strip away all that modern uncertainty and have an unbreakable squad. A family that will protect you, physically and spiritually, no matter what the cost.
It brings you right back to that quiet Texas college town, where the guy fixing your pipes or selling you a tire might just be the guardian holding back the dark.
Yeah.
We all love the idea of having a guardian or an avenger watching our backs, but if you were placed in this universe with its gritty realities and absolute moral demands, which role would you be asked to play? And more importantly, would you be ready to step up to the front lines?